So I'll hand over to now the baton to Viren, and I would request Viren to do a self-introduction on your experience. Though I know, but I think you'll be able to express it in much better way. Your experience with your startups and what you are doing now, and also people know you better. And then you do your own style. So we have 10 winners now. So you do grilling your own way. Okay? Over to you.
Thank you. Hello again. Everybody live, awake, fully charged up. Look, it is genuinely nice to be here. I have had a chance to meet some of you, interact with some of you yet, and really hoping that I get to know more of you through later today and tomorrow. We are getting into the later part of today's agenda, which is talking about different aspects of business, in this case, product market fit, which flows on from what you've heard so far this morning and this afternoon. Now, I'll start with this. We are collectively here solving for something that is common to all of us in this room. And that is anyone's guess. What are we solving for here as such? What is common to us? What is common interest to us here? We are solving for the Northeast as an emerging environment. We are solving for the Northeast as a ground where there is so much untapped opportunity and potential that a lot of what we're talking about, discussing through today, tomorrow, is going to feed into that. I'll take just a brief moment to introduce myself. I'm Viren. I was going back in time, born and brought up as a founder. That was accidental. I was completing my doctoral research. This was about 2 decades back, and that went into some field work, which became a business. And that was in the larger healthcare sort of industry. Enjoyed that for about 5-6 years, and had the chance to then sell that off, made a little bit of money, and at that time got curious about what's happening on the other side in the corporate space. So I did go spend a few years in the corporate world, as one calls it, and realized quickly that that's fine, but it's what I describe as first love. You create something and you just want to create it again. Maybe a different thing. So I spent a few years. Fast forward to about 2012 is when I was with the last organization, setting up their innovation labs. And from there, I moved back into the startup space, created my second venture, also in the health tech space this time, a little bit more focused as a service organization. That ran for about 3.5 years, and we then scaled it to a point, but the business model in our case could not be scaled and was very capital intensive. So in this case, the outcome we had was to exit by selling off the IP to a larger organization. And since then, I've had the chance to support a few corporates, but many startup ecosystems in different regions, including India, where there is, at any given day, an enormous amount of development happening, and in so many different ways and forms that it is hard to keep up. And literally, even in the past 45 minutes, in a group of 5 ventures, startups that I was interacting with in group 1, there is just so much in terms of new potential that can be created that it is hard to ignore for much longer. In present time, I do spend time in 3 ways. One, working on my third venture, which is once more health tech. I do teach, visiting faculty at a couple of business schools, and then I spend a lot of time in coaching and mentoring, but more formally coaching with a few institutions. So that's me in a nutshell. Like, genuinely happy to be here. I connected, with Subhranshu and the team. We got chatting, and it was quite clear quite quickly that what can be achieved here, and that has become so much more clear to me even from this morning, is only the very initial stage of this. To that, I'll tie it in with what we've talked about so far and maybe throw a challenge back to all of you in if we are truly solving for the Northeast as an environment of growth or the next environment of growth, which for any number of reasons might have been overlooked up until now, then creating or tapping briefly into that point CD made about the association a place can present or the kind of ingredient that a place can provide to you. Here's a challenge I'll throw back to you. Look at that poster to your right side. Hopefully it's visible to everybody. This one right here. There's an image you see in the middle of that. Is that visible to everyone? Okay. What comes to mind? If you were to describe that image in one word. Sorry? Nature? Okay. What else? Tea. Serenity. Any others? Bliss. Peace. Spot on. That's one. Any others? Hydropower. I'll put in one more word. Pure. To me, a very strong ingredient of what is originating from the Northeast has an element of purity in it. And that is something that you should certainly think about in your business models, in your products, services that you're creating. There is an element of pureness in there which can be very unique. And I'll give an example there, and we'll talk about it in a few different ways and then go into a follow-on exercise. Jeju Island, spelled Jiju, in some remote corner of South Korea, has a set of volcanoes. Right? There is a cosmetic brand called Innisfree. Now that brand has simply used the association to the volcanic ash and the pureness of that, and an ingredient that they've used in their cosmetic line. They don't produce in that island. They don't sell on that island. They simply provide an ingredient from there and have created an international chain of cosmetics, hugely successful. And this is to make the point of how you find that kind of absolute uniqueness to what will create your business. Now, we're talking about product market fit here, and I'll start with some examples and then tie it back to the exercise that we've all gone through. Amazon, just by show of hands, how many of you know where Amazon started, how Amazon started as a business? What was Amazon's very first business? Selling books. Literally driving around the neighborhood selling books. Right? What led them to start that way? Why did Jeff try and do that? Easily possible. Make it accessible. Go to where the customers are. There was enough to at least think that there's more people interested in reading. So if they're not finding time, if they are not motivated enough to go and buy books, come rent out books, let me take those books to them. How many of you know Airbnb? Okay, enough people. How many of you have used Airbnb? Great. Would you know where and how Airbnb started as a product? What was their first product? Literally, what was their MVP? Yes. So, and that was exactly it. So Airbnb's MVP was an air mattress in somebody's garage where the person in the garage was not parking their car. So they went and put out an air mattress and suggested to some of their friends that, look, here's some place you can use while you're going around backpacking in that region. You wouldn't imagine these kind of things being very common, but that's exactly what an MVP or a prove-out can be, what a product market fit can be. Now, of course, it sounds very simplified. It didn't solve it. It wasn't that they did this once and suddenly they were, wow, let's make a whole business out of it. It's also not that Airbnb remained that kind of a business. They've taken a very different shape and form now. But the point here being, you start with, what is that absolute need? Where is it that you're solving a problem? I would also immediately say, and I've shared this with a few that I've spoken with, that oftentimes there is a problem to solve, and the problem could be not something that is missing, but could simply be something that can be done a whole lot better. You then go on to innovate. You add all the different ingredients of marketing that CD talked about with you. You ensure you're operating with an incredible amount of focus that you also heard about, looking through that lens. And where do you focus on at what point in time? Early stage focus being very different to once you've achieved a certain amount of prove out. And so where do you start to think about some of these things? What we're going to do now is use one or two of these illustrations in terms of developing product market fit, but then hear directly from our colleagues. And I'm going to call upon some of the examples, starting with each of the groups and their respective winners, to come and pitch their product solution to you. And for each of you to be the likely customer who's going to pay for it, or a potential consumer who'll be using that. And let's all determine, challenge it in a good, friendly way. We are in a company of friends. What and how compelling and how convincing that product market fit looks like. Now, that said, there might be examples when, while you're creating a new product, which has originated out of a certain situation, and the product itself is being put through an accelerated pace of development, where your very classic development life cycle, your validation, your research, is taking a very different kind of path. Can you think of a recent example where that might have occurred? Where a product had to be developed recently, but it was not the classic way in which that kind of product would be developed, but it still had to achieve its product market fit to go live. The vaccine. That's what you said? Exactly. The COVID vaccine. I think you've all heard many, many stories from different pharmaceuticals, those in India, those overseas, on how they achieved a very accelerated, just about acceptable norm to go to market. They got this over the line. There were emergency approvals. There were some concessions made, but that was the need of the hour. It still met certain standards. A very different kind of scenario example to a product such as Airbnb. I'll use one more example and then go back to the group. A company called Healthy Binge in India. Right? It's from a group of people I've known for a little while. They come from very different backgrounds. One, a banking background, the other from advertising. And they had this deep piece of passionate thought about creating health food. Now, health food is not new. It's been around for a very long time. There is no lack of options with regards to health snack food. There's enough choice. There's enough options. Now, there's too much choice, as CD would say. But they've done well. And they've done well at a fairly so fast pace. And for them to achieve a whole new kind of product market fit as a new health food snack company in an already crowded space, their ingredient was localization. And so what they did as a tact, and we've seen this in many of the business that you are creating in this room, which we will talk about, is at times, how do you localize to find your niche? And so they've literally gone into different regions of the country, picked up a local ingredient from a curry leaf to a different spice, to a chili, to a pepper, and see what is appealing to that palate and how they could develop that at scale. And that prove out is how they pitch themselves on Shark Tank, how they procured their first round of capital, and how they're now starting to scale up their business. The concept of product market fit does build on something that most of you formally, informally, consciously, subconsciously would have already achieved, which is your problem solution fit. You're creating a product in the first case because you do wish to solve a problem. Now, that isn't always the case, and we've seen that enough number of times. You could simply be creating that product because you feel strongly about it, and that's great, that's absolutely fine. Where it becomes a little bit tricky is when you are so deeply passionate about that product or that solution, and I'll give you an example that I'm very close to, which is that of my co-founder earlier, where you may be so deeply in love with that product or the technology or the ingredient or solution that you're creating that you may not leave enough room to think about the whole business commercially. And in this case, in my case, in my own example, my co-founder at the time, hugely qualified, massively experienced in his own field of science, but commercially required, for others on that team to think differently so that you knew what and how to make a business out of that solution, how to productize it, how to mature that. And there's many examples in this room where what you're creating is unique, absolutely, is based on that element of purity, has distinction, has very clear opportunity to grow and scale beyond this region and well beyond, frankly. So how do you start to ensure that you maintain that product market fit? Once you've achieved it, how do you sustain it? How do you replicate that across different markets? Because that eventually will lead you to that path of profitability. When you start answering questions of scale, when you start exploring questions of expansion, which some of you are already doing. And that's what was actually quite refreshingly new to me from the group, that many of you are already at that stage where asking these questions is not far away, if not already now being the time to ask those questions. So we'll go into some live examples from within the actual group. It's amongst us that these businesses are being created. It's within this room and our colleagues who have started to create this business. They've achieved prove out. Many have. Some very close to. Some on their way to doing that in the near or medium term. Let's think about this all collectively and assess them as examples of what does that product market fit look like at a larger scale. At this point, the scale within this room. And let's then also apply it in the scale that the region has to offer, the country has to offer, and then you start thinking beyond. Right? Let's start with, we had 10 groups, right? Let's start with group 10 and the team which were the winners in group 10. Okay. All right. Let's have you come up here. Introduce what you're doing, briefly. Take about 90 seconds, but mainly share with us where you started briefly, what stage you're at, and in particular, what led you to determine that if you already have done that, what led you to determine that you have already achieved that product prove out, that you see that this is a product that can actually work. Now, this is something that beyond a few friends and family, people are willing to buy and buy again. This is something that you can actually sell profitably at some point, even if you may not be in profit today. As you scale, as you expand, you can start to generate good return from that. That's what we would like to hear from each of the teams, and we will then also debrief on that together. Before we commence with that exercise, any questions I can answer for you? All right, we'll keep it interactive. Please yell out anytime, raise your hand, and please stay very comfortable because this is truly in the company of friends and in the intent of learning. So let's make the most of what time we have today.
Thank you, sir. Can I speak in Hindi because I am comfortable in Hindi?
Please do.
तो हमारे जो प्रोडक्ट हैं अगर उसके बारे में हम बताएं तो हम दो चीज़ों के ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं. एक हो गया हमारा ऑर्गेनिक पोल्ट्री और दूसरा है मशरूम. ऑर्गेनिक पोल्ट्री में हम लोग कंट्री चिकन एंड एग्स का प्रोडक्शन करते हैं जो एंटीबायोटिक फ्री है और इसमें हम वैक्सीन भी इन मुर्गियों को नहीं लगाते हैं जिसकी वजह से इनका डिमांड मार्केट में बहुत ज़्यादा है. और इनको जो हम फीड खिलाते हैं वो हमारे लोकल फूड ग्रेन खिलाते हैं क्योंकि इसके लिए उसमें टेस्ट भी बहुत अच्छा आता है. और मार्केट डिमांड में अगर हम बात करें प्रोडक्ट की तो अभी हाल ही में हम लोग हमारे बराक वैली के 3 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हम लोग एक्टिव हैं, कचार, कोडिंगो, हैलाकांदी में. और जितने भी हमारे प्रोडक्ट हैं वो ऑर्गेनिकली होने की वजह से उसका डिमांड बहुत ज़्यादा है. और वही जो बातें हैं मैं अपने ग्रुप में जब हम 10 नंबर ग्रुप में हमें था नंबर 10 में वहाँ पे यही सी बातों को मैंने उनके सामने पिचिंग किया और उन लोगों ने मुझे विनर सिलेक्ट किया था क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट बहुत अच्छा लगा उन लोगों को. बस यही. अगर आप लोगों को कोई सवाल हो तो आप पूछ सकते हैं मुझे प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर.
जैसे आपने बताया कि आप वैक्सीन भी नहीं लगाते,
हाँ,
तो ये क्या सही है वैक्सीन नहीं लगाना? क्योंकि कमर्शियली ये अगर कुछ लॉस हुआ, कुछ डिसीजेज आया तो आप उसको कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे? क्योंकि आपके पास कितने कितने मुर्गियां हैं अभी?
अभी हमारे पास फ़िलहाल 5 से 10 हज़ार मुर्गियाँ हैं.
5 से 10 हज़ार के जो लाइव स्टॉक को आप रख रहे हैं विदाउट वैक्सीन, ये क्या बहुत बड़ा रिस्क नहीं है?
इसमें रिस्क नहीं है क्योंकि हमारा जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो कम्युनिटी बेस्ड अप्रोच है. एक जगह पे 10,000 मुर्गियों को रखना आपको वैक्सीन लगाना पड़ेगा. और हमारा जो अप्रोच होता है वो हर फार्मर के साथ मिलकर हम कर रहे हैं. हाल ही में बराक वैली में 100 से ज़्यादा फार्मर के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं और हर किसी के पास 10, 50, 20 ऐसा रहता है और ये फ्री रेंज में रहते हैं. ऊपर से आपने जो कहा कि वैक्सीन लगाना, वैक्सीन उन्हीं मुर्गियों को दिया जाता है जिनका मतलब जो ये जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड कर चुके हैं, मॉडिफाइड हो चुके हैं. हमारा जो रहता है वो हमारा नॉर्थ ईस्ट का है, हमारा नेटिव है. इसको अगर वैक्सीन ना भी लगाए तो कोई बात नहीं. और इसका जो ऑल्टरनेटिव है जैसे कि एंटीबायोटिक के ऊपर हम बोले तो हमारे जो यहाँ पे हल्दी मिलता है उसमें सबसे ज़्यादा वर्ल्ड में सबसे ज़्यादा कारकुमिन वो नॉर्थ ईस्ट के हल्दी में पाया जाता है जो एक तरह का एंटी बैक्टीरियल होता है. हम इसको खिलाते हैं. हमारे नीम हो गया एंटी वायरल, हमारा ये बेसिल लीव हो गया, ये सारी चीज़ें हम उनको देते हैं. और हम सीजनली करते हैं. पूरे साल भर मुर्गी नहीं पालेंगे, साल भर में अलग अलग बैचेस हम लेते हैं. इसलिए हमारा वो रिस्क जो है होता है वो मिनिमाइज हो जाता है, रिस्क नहीं रहता है.
और दूसरा जो आपने बताया फीड के बारे में,
हाँ
किसी के घर में अगर 100 मुर्गियां हैं,
हाँ,
आप जो घर का फीड है उसके ऊपर कैसे डिपेंड रह सकता है? क्योंकि 100 मुर्गियां हैं, आपको पर्टिकुलर एक टाइम के अंदर उसको एक ग्रोथ अचीव कराना है ना,
हाँ.
6 महीने के अंदर अचीव कराना है. तो विदाउट कमर्शियल फीड आप उसको कैसे अचीव करेंगे?
हम जो फार्मर को ट्रेनिंग देते हैं उनको 4 चीज़ सिखाते हैं कि हमारे बॉडी की तरह मुर्गियों का शरीर भी है. पहला हो गया कार्बोहाइड्रेट, दूसरा प्रोटीन, तीसरा विटामिन और चौथा हो गया मिनरल. कार्बोहाइड्रेट जो है वो हमारे फूड ग्रेन्स में हमें अवेलेबल होता है और प्रोटीन जो होता है उनके लिए उनको हम खुला छोड़ते हैं स्कैवेंजिंग के लिए ताकि वो प्रोटीन उनको मिल जाए. और ये जो कैल्शियम और मैग्नीशियम का जो ये रहता है इसके लिए हमारे जो स्नेल होता है, हमारे जो अंडे का छिलका होता है उसमें ऑलरेडी कैल्शियम है. सबसे ज़्यादा चूना हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट में पाया जाता है, उनका हम प्रमोट करते हैं कि ये सब खिलाइए, एक अंतराल में दीजिए. ज़रूरत नहीं है कि वो खाना खिलाने का, यही खिलाकर हम इनको बचा सकते हैं और हमने कर दिखाया वो.
और मिनरल्स के लिए?
मिनरल तो वही होता है ये सब चीज़ें. और ऊपर से हमारा जो ये ग्रीन लीफ होता है, हमारे सारे बहुत सारे ग्रीन लीफ यहाँ पे उगते हैं, हार्ब्स होते हैं. उनमें से ये ज़मीन से जो हमारा आता है मिनरल से वो स्टोर होता है प्लांट में. अगर वो प्लांट को डायरेक्ट हम खिलाने के लिए देंगे तो उसमें मिनरल का कोई ज़रूरत नहीं होता है, वो ऑटोमेटिकली मैनेज हो जाता है क्योंकि हम नेचर के उस साइकिल में काम करते हैं.
थैंक यू वेरी मच.
ज़्यादा टाइम ले रहा हूँ क्या सर? ओके, बताइए.
आपने बहुत अच्छा जवाब दिया.
हाँ.
मेरा एक बस क्वेरी है. क्वेरी ये है कि जैसे आप इसको कमर्शलाइज कर रहे हैं और फार्मर्स एक स्कैटर्ड तरीके से, बहुत डिसेंट्रलाइज तरीके से आपने उसको चीज़ों को मैनेज कर रहे हैं, लेकिन 20, 30 या 50 मुर्गी पालने के लिए फार्मर्स को कोई टेक्निकल उस तरह से बहुत नॉलेज की ज़रूरत नहीं है, या उस तरह से कोई हेल्प की उस तरह की ज़रूरत नहीं होती. प्लस जो आपका कॉस्ट, आपका एनालिसिस अगर हम करें इसको अगर कमर्शियली वायबल बनाना है तो नॉर्मल तो बहुत सालों से लोग मुर्गी पालते आए हुए हैं इस तरह से। आप उनको सपोर्ट क्या दे रहे हैं? बेसिकली उनसे आप खरीद लेते हैं, प्रोक्यूरमेंट करते हैं एक को, या उसके अलावा कुछ और भी आप सपोर्ट दे रहे हैं? और अब मार्केट में जो प्राइस आप जिस एक का बेच रहे हैं, तो डायरेक्टली तो आजकल ऐसे भी आपका मार्केट में लोग सेल करते ही है एक को, उस पर क्या डिफरेंस आप क्रिएट कर रहे हैं? बेसिकली आपका जो यूएसपी हो क्या है उस पर?
देखिए, हम जो फार्मर के साथ मिलकर काम करते हैं, सबसे पहला रहता है उनका ट्रेनिंग के लिए यूट्यूब में 3000 से भी ज़्यादा फार्मर का परिवार है हमारा। उसमें सारे चीज़ ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है वहाँ पे। उनको कुछ प्रॉब्लम हुआ वहाँ पे उस लैंग्वेज में है कि किस तरह से आपको ट्रेनिंग देना है, और ये अगर समझ में ना भी आए तो उनको हम ट्रेनिंग देते हैं। ट्रेनिंग देने के बाद ये जो चिक्स होता है वो हमारे प्रोडक्शन सेंटर से उनके पास भेज दिया जाता है, और इसका हम प्रोडक्शन करते हैं कमर्शियली। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि हमारे जो फार्मर हैं वो एक फार्मिंग के ऊपर नहीं टिके हैं। ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा गलती होता है फार्मिंग में। जब भी आप एक चीज़ों के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट हो जाएंगे तो क्या होता है कि फार्मर का इनकम एक लिमिटेड रह जाता है। अगर उसमें लॉस हुआ तो वो रिकवर कैसे करेंगे? हमारा ये ऑल्टरनेटिव रहता है, आप मुर्गी पाल रहे हैं, साथ में बत्तख भी पालिए और सारे नेचुरली स्केवेंजिंग करेंगे। और अगर आपको चाहिए कि आप बड़े लेवल पे स्केल करना चाहेंगे तो हमारा जो इनपुट रहता है, हमारा जो टेक्निक है, वो सब हमको अवेलेबल कराते हैं, आप करिए। लेकिन इसी टेक्निक से अगर आप करते हैं तो आपका लॉस होने का चांसेस बहुत कम रहता है, मिनिमाइज हो जाता है। और बात रही एक्सपांशन की, तो हम जिस स्टेट में जाते हैं डायरेक्ट हम कभी भी मुर्गी एक दूसरे स्टेट में नहीं भेजते हैं। वहाँ के फार्मर को पहले ट्रेन कराते हैं, उनको सप्लाई देते हैं रॉ मटेरियल का। अगर वो हमसे जुड़कर काम करना चाहे तो वेलकम, हम अपने ग्रेजुएट फार्मर के ब्रांड से उनके साथ मिलकर करते हैं। अगर वो ना भी चाहे, वो खुला रहते हैं, उनके साथ कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं रहता है। हम ही शायद बराकवेली में ऐसे लोग हैं जो फार्मर के साथ कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं बनाते हैं, क्योंकि इनके ऊपर हम बोझ डालना नहीं चाहते हैं।
तो आपका रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम क्या है? आप कहाँ से पैसा कमाते हो?
हमारा इन हाउस प्रोडक्शन होता है। जो चिक्स होता है वो हम इन हाउस प्रोडक्शन करके फार्मर्स को देते हैं, उनमें से एक रेवेन्यू आता है। दूसरा होता है हमारा हर जगह पे खुद का एक मॉडल फार्म रहता है हमारा, उसमें हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट रहता है ताकि फार्मर जब आए सीखने के लिए यहाँ पे आएंगे, यहाँ से सीख कर जा सकते हैं। तो फार्मर से जो प्रोडक्शन के बाद जो सेल होता है उनमें से 40% कमीशन हम चार्ज करते हैं, अगर वो सारे चीज़ें हम प्रोवाइड करेंगे तो। और वो अगर हमसे ख़रीद लेते हैं सारे चीज़ें, जो इक्विपमेंट चाहिए, ये फीड वगैरह हो गया या फिर ये चिक्स हो गया, तो उसमें सिर्फ हम जो कॉस्ट आता है वही लेना है। और ऐसे ही हमारा जो रेवेन्यू मॉडल वो चलता है।
तो अब अंडे पे नहीं कमाते कुछ?
अंडे, कोई भी चीज़, ये मुर्गियाँ क्या होता है, अंडे भी देते हैं और चिकन के लिए भी। जब अंडे दे देते हैं तब उनको नहीं रखना है, क्योंकि अब वो कमज़ोर हो चुके हैं। अगर रखेंगे तो उनको फिर से एंटीबायोटिक वैक्सीन जो आपने कहा था वो लगाना जरूरी होगा। अगर इनको नहीं रखेंगे, एक बैच खत्म करेंगे, फिर दूसरा बैच लाएंगे, फिर तीसरा, ऐसा पूरा साइकिल चलता रहेगा नेचर के साथ मिलकर। तो आपको एंटीबायोटिक नहीं लेना है। इतने दिनों से, 1000 सालों से हमारा मुर्गियाँ है, मरे तो नहीं, सब तो मतलब विलुप्त तो नहीं हुए हैं ना, उनके पास है ऑलरेडी। हम लोगों ने वो एक मार्केटिंग कर दिया है, क्रिएट कर दिया है कि जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ये चिकन लाकर हमारे ऊपर जो गुजर रहा है, हमने कोरोना के टाइम में देखा था। एंटीबायोटिक खाने की वजह से कितना एंटीबायोटिक रेजिस्टेंट हमारा बॉडी बन चुका था, कितने अपनों को हमने खोया था। इसीलिए हम उसमें कर रहे हैं कि ये सब नहीं करना है, हट के करेंगे और देखते हैं कहाँ तक जा सकते हैं। अगर आप लोगों का साथ मिला तो जरूर हम चलेंगे आगे तक।
Thank you.
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you. So a few takeaways from that, right? As you heard, it's a very carefully planned business. You know, every small portion of that business is important. The feed, at what stage do you use the livestock for? At what stage do you use them maximally for laying eggs? Where do you then progress your product to use that differently and make money at different stages? Once you've achieved your product market fit, it becomes important that you start thinking about scalability, because simply achieving product market fit without having that future lens of scale at some point will become limiting. What should not happen is that you get all excited, which is natural, and you should. When you achieve that, what do we define as product market fit? There's no formula. Now, you will know. You will know statistically, you'll know by customer engagement. Of course, the biggest validation is somebody promoting a product, somebody recommending a product. What we heard this morning, how someone talks about your brand when you're not there, somebody paying for your product end of day. If it is a business that you're creating, and if that's what needs to happen, and that's what needs to happen not as a hobby, not as a passion, which is great, important, but needs to happen as a business, which needs to grow, be profitable, generate returns, if and when you get investors, provide them sufficient returns, and scale. That kind of product market fit starts to set the foundation at very early stage of what will lead you to operate in scale. And I think that question about scaling is what I found coming up most commonly with a lot of the people that I was speaking with through this morning, or at least this afternoon in the exercise. You've achieved this kind of prove out. This is your traction. That's absolutely admirable. That's great. But where from here? Do you stop there? Of course not. Why would you? You now need to start solving for how do you replicate that. You still ensure you're fit for that market. Potentially think of replicating that kind of approach, a version of that product for a different market. But keep the same principles intact. Team 9. The winners for Team 9. Oh, okay. Was that a tie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work with a tie.
So hello everyone, I'm Jonali. So my brand name is Kahori. So my product is not new. It's Mekhla Chadar. It's a women ethnic attire belonging to the Assamese community. So I've been living outside Assam for almost 18 years. And I've seen people wearing saris for almost every occasion or any sort of ethnic day. But rarely I spotted Mekhla Chadar. So during pandemic, I lost my job, and in order to sustain my mother-in-law's small home-based business, which is designing Mekhla Chadar, so I thought I'll open up a page on Instagram and see how people kind of perceive the product as in outside Northeast India. So I started listing our products, and our designs are very exclusive. We only provide authentic silk hand-woven Mekhla Chadar. So my first customer was outside Assamese community. When I got the order and she shared the address, it was from Manali, Himachal Pradesh. And I was a little surprised. I asked her, do you know how to wear it? She's like, no, but it looks so nice that I want to have it. And then her sister messaged me saying that I'm getting married in a couple of months and I want to have something like this. I'm like, okay. Then I quickly got on to making a tutorial on how to drape a Mekhla Chadar. And I was someone who loves taking pictures but never in front of the camera. So I got out of my comfort zone and started doing what the audience wanted. And it's been almost 3 years. We have a community of 52,000 on Instagram page. The potential is huge. So I never went back to my job. I kind of shifted back to Assam. And I'm working with the local, silk weavers. We are supporting their livelihood. We are scouting for new weavers, especially women-led weaving centers. And I think we have carved a niche out of this overcrowded, product line that is Mekhla Chadar. There are a lot of competition, a lot of retail outlets. Still, I feel that we have been able to cater to our niche audience by, let's say, the color palette that we choose, the designs which are traditional yet very chic, and people are, very excited, and so every product that we kind of list on our page, we make that effort to show them how to wear it, how to accessorize it, and we give them suggestions on what would look good on them. If they're not confident enough, we give that kind of assistance, and they know the face behind that page, like the person and the people and the place, which is kind of reflected on our brand. So in a nutshell, this is what we do. So now the product line, like I said, it's not new, but what we are trying to do here is very different. And I think we have achieved what we wanted, and let's see how far we go. Yeah. So any questions? Any questions?
I'll start with that. So
Yeah.
when you think about your market,
Yeah.
the product is clear.
Yeah.
It's unique. It has that uniqueness.
Yeah.
When you think about your market, who comes to mind?
Okay.
The classic person whose attention you would like to draw
Yeah.
towards this.
So someone who absolutely loves, handmade products. Yes, it is not limited to women only. So women, yes, because they will be the direct consumers, but also men who would love to, give something that's special and unique product to their mom or, to their wives to mark a special occasion. So it is not restricted, we haven't restricted to a gender specific, but it is something that, it is going to be something which is going to last forever. Like, it's a timeless, so it's an emotion itself. The product itself is an emotion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
This reminds me of an example. Had a dear friend who began a business some years back. She was creating baby food, right? And in her case, it wasn't so much about providing nutrition to babies. Of course, there was, but it was about solving for the mums who were the customer, with the consumers being the babies, and making life easier for the mums because the food was meant to be a little bit more appealing. The babies were meant to enjoy it a little bit more. And that, in terms of feeding babies, or the difficulty of feeding babies at times, was kind of the problem that she had in mind to solve, vaguely. Now, it turned out that she was so much more in love with the customer in terms of understanding their interest, and of course also in love with what she was creating as a product, which eventually led her to do well. Right? She was so deeply in that mind and that persona of the customer that she was solving for. Look, I get it. I understand that's really what is important to them. That's what's important to that person, to look this way, to dress this way, to enjoy this experience, to get that kind of service, to get the value of what you have to offer, is what you would need to then decide and think about very clearly when you'd establish, what is the right kind of fit for what you are creating. And that balance can be quite delicate because, of course, you're very close to what you've originated. It's your baby in a way, right? It's your product, it's your service. You're meant to be close to it. But being as close to or close almost equally, if not more close to who that is for, is one thing. And as we've talked so far, are there enough number of people in terms of scale and size where you can make a profitable, scalable business out of that? And it starts to set that stage for what will become the right kind of product market fit. I'll bring up a few more examples later where we've seen some brilliant product market fit, problem, solution. It is a product, the market does exist, but it can only go so far. And that does happen. It doesn't mean the end of it. You solve as a founder, you solve the problem, you pivot, you iterate, you change your model. There's, in almost all cases, some potential solution that you can use. It's a matter of how bad you want it to work and how real you are in your learning and how real you are in your listening to what that market is telling you and the gap that you might see between what that customer does really want and they see important and what you'd like to provide to them. Team 8.
Good evening. My name is Richika, and I run a social enterprise called Asama. We are based out of a village called Alimur in Upper Assam, Dibrugarh. We make home decor and gift baskets. The products are made from a weed called water hyacinth. Water hyacinth, in case you do not know, it's a global menace. It's a pest of a plant because it inundates any water body in which it grows and stifles every other life form into it. So we harvest this plant, we dry it, and we use the stem for weaving baskets. All baskets, all products are handmade by women weavers of the village. We sell mostly in the B2B category. For example, we cater to florists and people who make gift hampers for personal as well as corporate events, Horeca, and besides that, home decor enthusiasts. The USP of our brand is that firstly, it is eco-friendly. Secondly, it is handmade by and has been able to provide sustainable livelihood to 60 artisans since the pandemic. We can customize sizes and shapes on bulk requirement, and we are affordable as well as the product aesthetics are great. That is what we have been told. Yeah, that is all from my side. You can ask questions.
Your first product, just for the group to know, where did you start? What made you start this? What led you to say, I'd like to create this?
So I'm a chartered accountant. I was a government consultant for 10 years. I was last working with PricewaterhouseCoopers. In 2020, during the pandemic, I'm from that village called Alimur. We saw that people in the village, they were really suffering. Some of the artisans, they were making the products, but the product quality was not all that great. So me and my cousin, I have a co-founder, Nupur. Me and Nupur, we collaborated, and we started by giving them designs that you start making this. We just opened an Instagram page. One thing led to the other. What started as a small venture, and then on Instagram, when we got good response, we organized multiple training iterations for them, and it scaled up from there.
And at what point did you start to realize that this is your audience? This is what they find interesting. That it's not just fad, it's not momentary, but they are willing to buy the item, buy what you're offering, and then buy that again.
Yeah. So earlier the artisans, what they were making and what was traditionally being made out of water hyacinth was mostly personal accessories like handbag, etc. We realized that in the very beginning itself, because we started receiving inquiries, that home decor and gifting segment is more a niche market for us because that holds more potential. So we have been catering to that segment since the beginning.
What you've done is admirable. You've created livelihood. What's interesting is, you've figured out a viable, profitable use case for what is otherwise seen as a problem plant, which is water hyacinth. Now, right now you're working in the village and you have an emotional connect because you're from there. But there's only that much you can produce out of the water hyacinth growing there. Do you have plans of expanding, and in which case that local livelihood model then moves to looking at water hyacinth as a productive input that can be scaled across whatever? So do you have that in mind, or do you want to stay local and create livelihoods where you are?
So we started with just a handful of artisans, like about 5 to 7. Right now, the radius in which we are operating is just 7 kilometers from where our workshop is located. I believe like artisan-wise, there's not a problem. I can cover the neighboring village. I don't want to tread too far because I will not have a control over the quality. Regarding the raw material, we have been able to procure from our vicinity till now. I am sure that in the future, whenever we require, I'm sure we will require more and more raw material. If we can go further beyond. Like water hyacinth is available in plenty around the area. It's also available for purchase. So that should not be a problem. Thank you, sir.
Ingredients, right? In many cases, thanks. in many of your cases, supply, raw materials are a very fundamental question. There are many businesses in this room which depend on adequate amount of supply of those raw materials, especially those which are very local to the region. How do you solve for that? The question that CD just raised, do you stay localized? That's fine, that's a choice you can make. But can this expand and scale beyond a certain point? How do you solve for that situation? How do you solve when you're competing with others who are doing similar things? All again, just very fundamentals of that fit, which feeds into the point of where and how far you wish to take that business. Because end of day, if you're operating it at a scale anywhere past a hobby where you can make some money out of it, to really make it sizable, you start to think about all the ingredient factors also. I'll give an example. Go straight right to the top of this country, the Kashmir region, where the Pashmina originates. Now, that's created a certain niche for itself. Is there sufficient supply of that? Different data out there. I'm not aware how much shortfall there is, but it certainly is unique, right? To something straight down south, to Chennai and the Chennai silk. These kind of things start to form a certain market. These are very successful markets, very successful product lines. For many of you in that product business, the corresponding equivalent of that may not be textile, may be food related, which it is in many cases. If what you're creating relies on a certain local flour or a local fabric or a local fruit item, where do you feed that into the product, the market you wish to serve? Oftentimes, the market can be much larger than what you might have anticipated. But then how do you serve that with the kind of product that you're creating? You reach that point where you can't solve for scale, and you're almost facing a product market mismatch or a partial fit or an inadequate fit. And at that point, it's fine. There's a choice that you need to make as to what scale you operate at and how far you wish to go. But these questions do emerge. Team 7.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I wanted to say I'm very privileged to be here because I am coming on my mom's behalf since she is not feeling well. Practically, I'm not into the business, but hoping to be working with her in the future. But I just want to tell how it works, how we are doing in our business. I have some idea. Since they have selected me as the winner, I think because they got the idea, that's why they chose me. So basically, we are dealing with spices, and our prominent product is Lakadong turmeric. So why our product is in the market? Because we cultivate it's purely organic. It's purely organic, and we use zero pesticide chemicals. And we are dealing with many spices also. But this is the more prominent one. Why my mom started this? Because it is an indigenous product, and then it was in a verge of extinction because people find it not profitable at all in cultivating it. So first of all, it started because it was the love for that product that my mom thought that it should be preserved since it is our indigenous product. The idea was not to start a business, but the idea, first of all, it was that. Until when she started doing it, then people start knowing about it. It is very eco-friendly. And then especially at this point of time, I'll cut short the story because everyone is running behind health, because of our lifestyle and all, we have become very bad in maintaining our lifestyle. And since this product has many profits, it is anti-inflammable and it really helps in preventing cancer and all. And if we talk in terms of, we can even use it as face pack for girls, even boys also, they can use it. So yeah. I think I'll be able to answer question because so many things doesn't come in my mind, but if you ask question, then I'll be able to know what else you need to know. If you have any question, you can.
Yes, sir.
When we first started, we used to, there are, in the next village, they have this machine. So my mom used to send it there because first of all, she don't have people that she was not able to convince them enough that they should plant this particular product. Because as I told you already, it was not profitable and it takes time to get adapted to a place. Okay, right now, even right now it is sustained because in that, oh yeah, sorry, I got carried away. I'll answer your question directly. Right now we have machines. Before we don't have, but right now since after this product got popularized, so even the government now they are providing us machine and all. And how do we do it? You might have question from where do we get the product? My mom act as the medium between, she as the intermediary between the farmer and the market. Because we live in a very remote villages and it is very difficult for people to get access to the market easily. So what mom is doing is, all the people will come and the nearby villages with small quantity with whatever they have, they will come and put it in our center. Then what we do from there is, from there, by now we know many people, many customers we are having. So depends on their needs, whether they want it fresh or they want it in finger type or they want it powder, we supply to them like that. And yeah, right now we have machine to process it.
Okay, you mentioned that it's organic, which is different from, but what else? It's an indigenous turmeric.
Yes.
What's special? What's different? How is it better than other turmeric,
Yes.
even if it's organic?
Thank you, sir. Actually, our product has the highest curcumin content and it has been proven because it has been tested. Every year, our regular customer, what they used to do is, even though for this particular year, before taking the product, they have tested the curcumin content to make sure that this particular quality is maintained till the next year also. Before taking the product, again, they used to do the testing. And in fact, every new customer, we don't test by ourselves. They took the sample and did the testing.
And is it branded and packaged or is it sold loose?
Yes, sir. No, the name of our brand is Daya Processing Unit. So if you want it in loose or if you want it in pack, it's available. So the quantity also depends. It starts from 200 gram till in tons. Recently, we have just supplied to Kerala, also to AK company for around 16 tons. So that depends however quantity you want. Pardon?
How are you managing the logistics?
Oh, transport. There are some people, if they ask for small quantity, like for example 30 kgs and all, we used to sell it, we send it to this post office. But if I took example of the recent company who have just took from us, what they did was we tried to arrange a vehicle from here to from my place to Guwahati, and from there they took from those transport company directly by road, they go to Kerala. And in no time we are planning, because as I told you already, practically I'm not in business. So after our studies, my siblings and me, we will be online also by the end of this year, hopefully to be able to serve you better whenever you need our product. Because you know now everything is online. You might be thinking why we are not online. So we'll be very soon online. I think most of you spend time online only than offline. So
Thank you for sharing that.
thank you, sir.
The kind of business that the model that they're adopting, where is it that they're using supply lines in a very different way? Now, we have at least one great example, and there's many, of a company which has done that very successfully in India, right? A company which started as a co-op, tapped into local supply lines, made it profitable for themselves and for their end suppliers. Exactly. Amul, right? Great example. If they played their part as a business. Now, does Amul create something? Yes, of course they do. They create a huge variety of products now. The way they've diversified is incredibly impressive from where they started. Another success story in a very similar way that I sort of look up to quite often is Fab India, as a brand which has originated, tapped into a lot of localized regional supply and diversified over time. But the point here is, let me challenge what I was saying to you earlier. Between the good, better, and best sort of variation of product market fit, what you should determine is what's good enough. Because there is always more to achieve. But just determine for yourselves, where is it that this gives you enough evidence and proof that yes, there are people interested, yes, there is money to be made out of this, it can be scaled, but beyond the point, how much you do that, how you do that, where you figure out your distribution, what your logistics are, how you manage supply chain, how you expand sourcing of ingredients, are things that you'll just figure out and solve along the way. So when trying to establish, when pitching, when being asked questions about market fit, feel very comfortable to defend what you believe is good enough market fit and why you believe it is a strong product which can scale when you really get to it. But prioritize what is most important at that point in time without biting off too much more than you need to chew. So bite-sized chunks, that was sufficient. You now move to commercialize, you now move to productize this, you now move to operationalize this. And once you begin to generate that early revenue, you begin thinking about the next stage. That just helps you keep your priorities clear as you move from that initial prove out to what comes next in terms of developing that business based on that foundation. Team 6? Sorry, was that 6? No, 6. Yeah. Welcome.
Hello everyone and good evening. And we are here, two of us. I think you must be wondering why most of you are coming only just one, but we are here, two of us. By way of information, we are from the Damat Fruit Wine LLP. We are dealing with wines, fruit wines. There in Shillong, we have got variety of fruits, and from the abundance of fruits there, we are making wines. So I have joined this company just recently, almost a year, and that's why I'm be talking about the market that we are doing. And Sir, as the founder, and I'm the co-founder, he'll be talking about the production. Well, we started this company, it's around 7 years ago. And actually it is out of passion and personal interest. And then from what we got from the feedback, the people that have encouraged us, so we are trying to expand it. And from time immemorial, actually there in, I think all the tribals, I would say, or any race in particular, we are used to drinks, for example, like rice beer that we used to have. And then we also there, we are not different. We are having that. Even we use in religion and for rituals and all. And when we deal with this kind of fruits, actually in this modern world, people are having like a different way of looking at things, and especially when with wine, we are trying to make it into that and convert it and serve the purpose of this particular time. And from this homemade wine there we are making now for 6 years, we are actually starting from a very small one, let's say like 5 liters in a bucket, and then slowly, it goes on for quite some times. And then our capacity now, it comes to almost like to 5,000 liters per year. And we are continuing with this business because we see that the positive feedback that people have given us, it's actually encouraged us. And we are able to promote this wine of ours through these exhibitions and trade fair, and also during these festivals. And during those times, we used to have this wine tasting session. And that's actually helped us in promoting our product. And at the same time, we thought that this cannot be done just within our state. And we are trying to launch it officially or commercially in the market. And we are now registering to this LLP. And at the same time, right now we are in the process of making a winery. And the machine, we are starting to get it from Nashik, from Mumbai. And so that's how we came here, because for funding and those things. So that's the would like to say. And Sir will have some more to talk about that.
Yes. Hello, my name is Bodegi Anishla. I'm the founder, and my co-founder, Chebo, he had discussed with you at length regarding the formation of the mud fruit wine. Actually, we are not the expert in winemaking, but as time passed by, we try our best, because the whole world, they have wine. But for us, we don't claim wine, we are fruit wine. We can never claim wine because we are non-grapes. Every non-grapes means they have to write fruit wine. And since you know, Meghalaya is about a cloud, and it is a subtropical region, and we have the wettest place on earth, like Mausanram and Cherrapunji. Nearby to that is located our village, Maukruat. And by that grace of the nature, we have abundance of fruits available, which we never think of that they are important. But as we know, the fruit that we never recognize makes the best wine ever. I can give you an example. Here you know jalpai. The jalpai that you have here and the jalpai that we have in our place is quite different. It has more acidity, bitterness also. But by that jalpai, actually people here for jalpai, they can use say like achar and all, what's called pickles. But in our place, we can make the best wine from jalpai. Besides that, according to the area that we are from high altitude region, and we have the peculiar flower, it's called rhododendron. Everywhere in the world, to find rhododendron, you can find, like Himachal, Arunachal, and in Meghalaya, Nagaland and all. But we start the process of making wine of rhododendron. And rhododendron also is a highly medicinal by the nature of the flower. And even in the tree and the back, everything, they have this medicinal power. And people, like in Nepal and all, they consider it as, I mean, they adore the tree only. And we have lots of trees in our place, and we have some trees, some fruits that even declare endangered, but ICUN. ICUN is an organization, international organization for conservation of nature. And still our people are ignored of the potential that we have in the environment that surround us. But every year we never utilize. We never consider. But when we try out to winemaking, but winemaking also is a process, it's a lengthy process. We cannot just copy from grapes to fruit wine. Certain ingredients that we add also differ. And that even the yeast that we are trying, it will not fit from grapes to fruit wine. But all these things are very lengthy process to discuss, and sometimes we cannot say sometimes we have to keep secret also. But one thing I can assure you, that we in Northeast, we have plenty of resources, but we never utilize. If we consider the resources among us, we can make lots and lots of revenue from these resources. That's all.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. So, there's a few key points we made there. One, that same point about uniqueness. You know, what's unique and different? You know, where do you find that niche for yourself? Second, at some point you will decide, and let's use this also as an example to challenge in a good way the notion that between the pain and the gain, which was also the example in some of the earlier examples, the case of the higher quality turmeric, the case of the higher quality fabric, right? In the case of this wine, is the world producing bad wine today? Is there no good wine available at all? No, there's enough good wine available from everywhere, every corner of the world, right? But there is also very large interest in new things being tried, in what hasn't been created so far, being created, produced, and enough people wanting options. Options that they wish to at least try out, at least they wish to experiment with, at least know about. And that is where you start to look at where do you feed into, in this case, a market which has been proven out. There is a wine drinking community audience market growing in India now. There is local produce. How do you add into that with new variety? And in this case, a variety that can work to your favor. Very similar to the example of the global gin market, where the next large industry that has developed now in recent years is infused flavors of gin, which have proven hugely successful. Now, is that because there was bad gin till now? No. It was because there was a market, there was an interest in terms of that social instrument that alcohol is at times. Now, there was an interest to experiment with that, with more variety. And that's what makes it a good market to look at. I will make one more point here, though, when it comes to numerous industries, food included, many others. As you're going about setting your product, as you're defining your standard, at some point soon enough, around about that same time that you achieve that product market fit, you form a view that, look, this is something that you can create now and develop further as a business, and at some point turn a good profit and scale it, just all those different ingredients. you should think about where is it that you set the bar. And what I mean by that is, in certain industries, food and beverage as one example, the norms of regulation, controls, checks, approvals, licenses, that entire sort of regime might be at one level. Too high, too low, it's relative. But if you think forward into your future markets, and let's take an example where in present time, let's say the requirement to produce a new food product or a healthcare product or any kind of consumable product is X. While in a whole different market, if you think about countries, markets outside of India, that requirement may be 2 or 3X. You will need to decide where you're setting the bar for yourself, at what stage, what's important now, not to run too much further ahead of yourself, not go jump the gun and solve for every market at the same time, but keep that somewhere back of mind so that you don't have to go and redo or recreate that entire process all over. You can reuse most of that as you solve for different markets, different operating environments. That could vary from state to state, not just country to country. But see where you wish to set the bar, and where possible, where it does make sense, where it does allow for you to spend time, resource, energy, then try and operate at least one level above that bar which you require to achieve to launch your product commercially. It just keeps you aiming higher. Team 5.
Thank you, sir. So, hello everyone. My name is Viren Aul, and I'm the co-founder of Darbu Music app. What if I told you we have found a way to pay artists and musicians more than any other platforms in the world, more than YouTube, more than Amazon, more than Apple Music, anyone. So, let me introduce you our Darbu app. So, the thing is, everyone, including Northeast India, is a victim of this freemium model. So I'm not going to go through all the, the music distribution system and the royalties and all that, but to get the point, let's say the music industry in 2022 was around $25.9 billion. So how much did the musicians and the artists actually get? Only just about 12% of that. So let's scale that down to, let's say, the Northeast. So the amount we get is quite small. So, but we found a solution. And the beautiful thing is that the fans, the listeners love it. So let me introduce you the Darbu app. So I'll talk about the app in just 3 broad features. First of all, we have the Darbu exclusive. Here we sell newly released albums and songs for just ₹15 per song. But the user can pay much more than that, any amount they want. And 90% of all the sales goes to the artists and the musicians. So secondly, we have the Darbu library, a collection of Mizo songs. And we have the best collection of Mizo songs, even some songs that didn't make it to the digital era. So we re-record them, we remaster them, and we uploaded all of them, absolutely free for the users. And thirdly, we have the Darbu store. Here we sell any merchandise from the artist or music related, and we also do events like concert tickets. We sell concert tickets and all that. And through all that, just in 6 months, we have around 30,000 users without any form of promotion. We have around 1,200 artists, and we have earned more than 10 lakhs in revenue just through that. So yeah, that's our status for now, and thank you.
Any artists in the room? So many. What made you realize that this was an opportunity?
So, sir, if I may ask you, what's the last non-digital album that you purchased?
Not digital.
Yeah, not digital, in CD or in cassettes that you love very much.
Oh, over a decade back. But
Yeah.
Oh, which one? Which artist?
Yeah, which artist?
Ah, yeah. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So the thing is that back in the day, we used to purchase songs, we used to purchase CDs or cassettes. I think I'm one of the last, the last generation to actually purchase music in a physical form. So if you remember, that feeling that you get when you go to the store, you go to the music store, you purchase it, and you have it, you keep it, it's yours, it's there. That feeling, the customers, the music listeners actually still want that feeling. But instead of physically, it's here, it's all here. But the feeling is still the same. And in that way, the artists can also earn their living, and the failing music industry can reflourish again. So that's the answer.
Thank you. Thank you. And in this case, I think it's very clear to us that what that product market fit was, what problem we're solving, how that can be scaled, given an already established base. You had a question? Yes, sir.
So I have a very simple question. Nowadays, nobody, I think, I haven't in last 10 years, I haven't bought any music. Everything is available free of cost. You go to YouTube or many other channels are there where music can be accessed freely. So why somebody will pay for the music?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Thank you. So, still, even though we don't, we don't offer and we don't expect everyone to buy those songs, those music, but even a small portion of loyal fans, even if there's like 5,000 loyal fans are there, they still earn more than 1 lakh rupees. So that's more, that's like, in terms of YouTube views, let's say, that's like worth 5 million YouTube views in just 5,000 buyers. So the artists, they still get the profit. They can still, they can still earn a living from them.
But I think, I'd just like to know how much are you paying as from the revenue that you get to the artists? When you say like if it's 5,000 loyal fans, if it's subscription based or view based, if it's comparable to 1 lakh, how much are you giving the artists in terms of what you're getting from the customer?
Yeah, none of this is subscription based. So the Darbu library is completely free. It's a free streaming app, so they can listen to not even an advertisement in the middle of the songs. But the Darbu exclusive, it's another category because for the newly released songs. So for those, just 15 rupees is the minimum charge, and the artist gets 90% of all the sales. We just take 10%. That's all.
So another question. So when you're saying 15 rupees, that's per song. Yeah. So it's like Bandcamp.
Excuse me.
Is it like Bandcamp that people can own and download the song?
Yeah. So yeah, the thing is, we still need to fight against the piracy, and we as much as we can, we also do that. So we have an encryption, a special encryption that we made on our own. So anyone can buy it and own it, but only through the app. Outside the app, they can't take it out. They can, of course, they can, re-record it out in any other devices. But that also, we got a bunch of good lawyers, and we're proud to say that we have got some criminals over the years, over the months. And they paid a lot of money to get out.
That's a different side of the business, but you had a question. Do they get paid by the number of views?
Oh, yeah. In that's the other category, the Darbu library. So the users can listen it for free, but still they get paid in the amount of listeners. But as of right now, we have been running for around 6 months, and no artists have reached that high amount for them to that level of to achieve that level of listeners. Yeah, but they will get paid.
Exclusive, right?
Yes.
And you said that 90% is being given to the musician.
Yes.
So if you are making 10 lakhs in a year, so 90% you give to the musician is what you are saying, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of songs can I hear? Only Mizo songs or?
Right now, it's still contained within Mizoram, but we plan to expand. We plan to continue it outside the state. And regarding your first statement, so the selling of the songs is not the only revenue model that we have.
Yeah, so I wanted to know that. What is the revenue model apart from the exclusive?
Yeah, so we have this in-app advertisements, like some advertisers come and we put their advertisements within the app, in the home page and in other pages, and also through the merchandisers. We earn some through the merchandisers and in the events also.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So that person there is your future head of finance.
I don't have much experience of the industry. Just to make a suggestion, like as you paying much more to the artist, like if you can sign some agreements with the artist that once some album is released, if for 3-4 months exclusively you basically broadcast all those music in your app, and you get basically payment for this exclusive release on your app from the customers. So I think if customers don't get those access from other channels and you get it exclusively for your app, probably your revenue you can increase, and I think that could be one strategy that you can apply, I think.
Yeah, you do know the business, because that's exactly what we do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting. Thank you. And it's really interesting. Please come on up. What you're doing here is you are not just developing a product or a service or a platform, you're developing assets. And these are assets which you can monetize in a whole lot of different ways. In this case, the content becomes the asset. The artists become the asset. How you monetize that, you start to get more creative about. That's not innovation, that's being creative. And how you can monetize that. You can bring together a whole pool of artists, organize a virtual, music festival, right? Something on those lines, where once you've created this pool of assets which have been underutilized or even untapped up until now, you begin to monetize them in a few different ways. But that fit of the product serving a market which does exist has just not been accessible or reachable or brought to its audience is probably what the core ingredient here is, and what you're solving, which you can then begin to monetize. Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Devesh Sharma. I'm the founder and finance head of ZeniaRooms.com. We are serving as accommodation service providers all over Guwahati for students and working people coming to Guwahati for longer term periods, that is more than 6 months. Okay, the idea of Zenia Rooms hit me back in 2021 when I was a student, and some of my friends who were coming from other northeastern states came to Guwahati, and they had to roam around the streets of Guwahati searching for paying guests or hostels according to their preference. That's when Zenia Rooms came in, and I had the concept to provide a platform to both the vendors and the students so that they can connect to each other and get the rooms which they require at each and every price range. So our ranges start from rupees 6,000 per month, including all the basic amenities and foodings, and goes up to 29,000 per month if you want to enjoy the luxuries. Yeah. So if you have any questions, I can answer it to you.
So what made you think this could become a business?
Basically, what every other platform providers does is, as we can see, Uber, they don't have their own cars. They have people who rent out their cars, who rent out their vehicles, and they connect it to the customers. Similarly, what we are doing is, we are providing a platform for students or working people who can come to Xenia Room, and we can find them a proper place where they can stay in for a longer term of period. Yeah. Anyone else?
Anyone in the audience who's seen themselves searching for accommodation this way, who's gone out for a working holiday?
And one more thing, I would like to request the NETP team that there are many entrepreneurs who are coming from outside of this state, and they are staying here in hotels and different places, paying a rent around something 1,000 rupees or 1,500 rupees per day. And I can provide rental accommodation for something around 600 or 700 rupees per day, including the fooding and everything. Okay. No, I'll provide it for a day or two. That's only for our entrepreneurs over here.
We just learned how to run a free marketing campaign. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. I am Anushi Mening representing Ninashi Homestay. The name Ninashi is actually my mother's name, who is actual founder of our homestay. So back in 2017, when there was no accommodation facility in entire northeast area, so my mother took this opportunity to turn our Mishmi house, traditional house, to turn into homestay. So from then, my mother and the team of tourism department of Arunachal Pradesh, they initiated and hosted the first awareness campaign for promotion these homestays, which inspired many people to turn their houses into homestays. So for now, we provide basic amenities in our homestay, like fooding, lodging, and everything, with local cuisines and all. And so I would like to highlight this thing. We have a long boogie-like home. Like our Mishmi house is like very big. It's very long. So we have displayed the horns of mithuns and the many animals like a water buffalo, which has very big horns. So the guests really like this. Like these things. Like we don't poach or anything, but this is since 70 to 80 years from now. Like my great-grandfather used to poach and all. So yeah, that's it. So if you have any questions, then.
How would you call yourself different to Xenia or Airbnb?
Oh, not actually. We have listed our homestay in Airbnb also. Yeah, and Booking.com. For Airbnb, our process is still pending, but on Booking.com we have listed our homestay. So yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Which you feel is unique.
Yeah. And we also provide some off destination travels and all. So we take them, the guests, to fishing and then trekking to the mountains. And also our homestay is surrounded with big mountains where you can hear the hollow gibbon's hoot every morning. Yeah, so this is, I think that's unique about our homestay. Yeah. So. Yeah. Annual occupancy rate, before we started from one room, back in 2017, we started from one room. Now we have 6 in total rooms. So I think now, for last month, we hosted 150 guests, like in April. So I wouldn't say, because the 3 rooms which we newly constructed, that was operational from October. So after that, our occupancy rate increased a lot. So yeah, till now we have hosted 1,000 plus guests. Yeah, like for our normal charges are 2,500 to 3,000. So for now, the off season starts, so we are charging 2,000 to 2,500. Yeah.
Is that all board? Like the charges include your food and stay, or?
No, food. Actually, food is excluded because the market is very far, and then the road communication is not so good. If we want to go to the market, then we have to take our own car. So as we know, the petrol is very expensive. So, so which everything is excluded.
Oh, that's amazing. But then that would be a lot of your revenue, right? The food is going to be contributing to a lot of your money income, because if the market is far, then they have to eat food there, which means your food is a major source of revenue for your homestay?
Yeah, we provide the local rice that we grow in our fields only. So yes, we first we let them taste, and then they also ask for, like, they want to buy, they take the rice also.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Away from what our colleague just shared here, it's, yes, of course, there is a matter of scale, right? Yes, there's a matter of raising capital for your business. There is the attraction of becoming the unicorn, quote. But those aren't always measures of true success. You know, there's enough unicorns which are not profitable. There's enough ventures which have raised enormous amounts of capital but are still not turning a profit. The takeaway in that case is, whatever you do at whichever scale, in the very least, it should have some kind of a recurring market, a recurring customer or a consumer, and be able to make you money, which does turn profitable at some point, and you can sustain that. The question about scale is then a choice that you would need to make for yourselves. But creating a business, which you then use as a means to generate revenue, create profit, all other things around that, provide employment, stir up the economy, however local, hyper-local, national, international, are questions which follow down the line. But that as a business is an example where, does that really need to become a unicorn? Not really, in my view. Can that be a good, well-placed, robust, profitable business which can run the long term? Yes, absolutely. And where that fits in, what that has to offer in terms of its own uniqueness by virtue of experience, is also quite clear. And that's something you will determine for yourselves in your respective business and business models. But welcome, team two.
Thank you, sir. First of all, hi family, NEDP. I would like to thank my team because they have selected me. Otherwise, I won't be able to present my business motives and all here. I have finished my MA in economics in 2019. And since my father was not there anymore and my mother was a Parkinson patient, I was the main breadwinner of my family. So I have to, like, pay my educations by going home tutor. But on 2019, when COVID-19 struck, like we can't go to for home tutor, and at that very time, my mother was hospitalized again for Parkinson's disease, and then there I met my co-founder. She also come to the hospital to serve for another person, and when we just talk about each other, I came to realize that she told her side of story, like we earn our living by doing discounter bags and all, but due to COVID-19 they had struck out, and they have to move out of the house, and they came to help for their relatives and earn. And after going back to home, I don't have a lot of money. I just have around like 4,000-5,000 in hand. And then I just called her, and I just went to her house and bought around like 2,500 word products from her, since she has already made and has no market to sell it. And then I was not in the intention to do a business of kauna. But like after that, there was an MBA student who is my cousin, and he also ran a business. And imitating him, I just started uploading photos of these kauna grass basket in Instagram. And after that, the love from outstate customers is very fabulous. And in this 4 years running, we have sold around 40 lakhs turnover. And she has a potential. She was we need a wooden frame to make this kauna basket, and she was using hand sew. And like with every inch of profit, I tried to save a little bit and improve the machines and give to her. And also I heard one about the raw materials. Yeah, raw materials is facing a lot of issues in Manipur, because we have artisans, and there are so many different designs. We have made around 100+ designs, including planters, basket, marketing bags, laundry bags, and hats, handbags, which can be used to substitute the cheap plastic products. So our product is biodegradable, eco-friendly, and affordable. Like most of the handbags ranges between like 130 starting from the gifting basket to around like 650 maximum, like that. But in case of laundry bags and all, price will be a little bit higher. And that's how I just continue to do the home tutor a bit while after I do this business, because I invest every inch of money I save from that, going from home tutor to this business. And with the help of the NEDP team and all, I was able to hoard up some of the raw materials. And it is not only providing, the livelihood of the local artisans. We have 50+ resellers across India. And then it's helping the gifting basket hampers makers, event organizers, and we had do a value additions of embroidered artisans also. It's all about extinctions, embroidered artisans, but we are bringing them to earn. And sometimes we put chains and all. We try to edit and rice cultivation is not much profitable in Manipur, because we receive subsidies, rice subsidies from the government, and the cost was very high. So I'm trying to provide an alternative lease of life to the rural artisans where irrigation facilities is available. I had started to try to one of my friend lend his land, so I'm trying to give a trial to the land whether this kind of kauna cultivation can be done, so that we have no problem we will try to solve the problem of raw materials a little bit also. Thank you so much. If anybody want to ask questions, then I'm a little bit timid person, but I can answer. Yes, sir. I used to carry everywhere I go. Even in picnics also, I was just I have no models. I just turn around, dance. and just upload it in the Instagram page. And even I don't have a camera. I just we have only 2 rooms, and even in single bed, I slept with my mom, so we don't literally have space. So I just put the background was a little bit of plastics, and I just clicked there. And at times, I kept all the stocks to my homes, from stairs to kitchens to everywhere. And my mom was, you just go with this all counter bags and stay somewhere, like we don't have a foot to step. But after, receiving this, achieving this NEDP, my mother was, like, just go it. Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Bebina from Manipur, and my brand is Nayin. Nayin is a brand about the fashion and decorative accessories. For the fashion, like hair bands, hair clips, earrings, like neck piece, this all type, and the decorative accessories like wall hangings and the candles and all. For the like there is a growing trend of customization and personalization. That is one of my USP. Like people ask me for unique design and customize for them, and the for candle, it's like there is like people use for gifting. In every hampers they put the candles and all. There are normal jars and all. The same thing as a normal jar. I'm providing a candle with a scent plus with the look. Like example, this chocolate milkshake candles. You can smell it if you want. Thank you.
It's super tasty. There's a few spoons here. But that is an actual candle, and that's very impressive.
Any questions or anything you want to know? And those who are doing the gift hampers and all, you can collaborate with me to put my products.
So this
I'm
is
open.
something that you created.
And it's all handmade. And the wax is natural soy wax. Alternatives of paraffin. This is like biodegradable, sustainable, eco-friendly, non-toxic wax. Yeah, for the candles, like I wanted to put a unique item for my weddings, for my friends. So I just attended one of the online candle making workshop, and then after that I made rasmalai candles, and I put in that in wedding hampers. That's how the candle is included in my business. Thank you.
Chance, what you might stumble upon and get started with, do you know? And that is oftentimes the X factor involved in creating the right kind of product, eventual product. You may end up selling something, creating a business out of something entirely different from where you started. Please keep that option available and make that option available to yourselves. You may succeed with a product only up to a point and then realize the need to pivot because your business or your operating model as such requires for that to happen. And those things you solve as you go along, as you progress. But look, happy to take any questions now, afterwards. Hopefully this has given you a little bit more perspective. It's been an enormous place of insightful interaction through the activities. So any questions I can take right now? All right, well, I'll be around. Siri.
Can I just add something?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I wish Subhranshu was here, but I don't know if I can say this on behalf of Calcutta Innovation Park. We've done this kind of thing in different states at different points of time, and this is whole of Northeast India. And heaven only knows, from a entrepreneurship, startup ecosystem point of view, East India is a little backward. Northeast India is probably even more. But, as somebody said, in the land of bare feet people, selling shoes is probably the biggest opportunity, right? So you can flip it around and see that there is huge, enormous potential. And I think Viren talked a lot about some of the strengths of Northeast. But I'll tell you about one strength that I think I saw kind of visible. I think so many of you have so much of pure passion. This is the honest driven, whether you're working in a small scale, or trying to scale up, or coming up with an idea, some of the struggles that you've been, it's clearly visible to, I think, most of us that there's something very deep inside. It's not about money. I mean, of course you want to make money and, take care of yourself and maybe give livelihood. But really, most of you are really passionate. But I think, the biggest strength that you have is each other. There are some of us who've come from outside and will go back. But what you will have, not just in your state, but across Northeast, and I want you to keep this in mind. And I could see that little bit. Somebody was trying to sell your, hostel saying, okay, even for a day, you can come and stay. Just, you're doing business with each other. You were saying, you have gift hampers, I can give you my product. You can be each other's customers, you can be each other's partners, you can be each other's ambassadors, and you can be each other's shoulders to cry on because, entrepreneurship is a tough and a lonely journey, right? You're going to be your best friends, We will support you the best we can, as long as we can. And we'd like to believe, most of us, heart of hearts, I believe I'm also part of the Northeast because I've come in so many times. People like Subhrangshu, etc., Gaurav, literally spend half their time here. But we're still outsiders. You're the locals, you're the people. And if you can help create that initial push to build that ecosystem, and now that you have each other, you can. And maybe 5 or 10 years from now, you will be the mentors to the next generation who you can inspire and motivate and build up and build into a bigger movement. But to start with, you're the first cohort and you have each other. So the power of this group, this network, believe me, trust me, if I meet each of you and any of you 5 years from now, is going to be the biggest strength and biggest takeaway you have. So use it to the full. Be unashamed, right? Ask for help. Ask for business. Help each other. Do whatever it takes. But if you work with each other, you can do wonders. Thank you.